Hi guys, welcome back to the session. Today we will learn how to build a chatbot using Google Dialogflow and UiPath. So let's get started. So first of all, I will show you a demo on chatbot to let you know what the chatbot will do, and then we will create the chatbot together. So let's say hi to our chatbot, and in reply the chatbot says, "This is news chatbot, how may I assist?" Now since this is a news chatbot, let's say get me some news, and in reply the chatbot says, "Please provide some topic for news." So it is asking for a topic. So let's say show me news on Bitcoin, and then it says working on it. That means our request is getting processed, and here it displays top 5 results on Bitcoin. These are the top 5 news on Bitcoin. So this is how our chatbot will work, and let's begin to build our chatbot. And first of all, let's see what all applications will have to work to create this chatbot. Now the first application on which we'll have to work is Google Dialogflow, which will be used to create conversational interface. Next application will be UiPath, where we will create a workflow where the user request will be processed. And next, we will map our work from these two applications using the website chatbot.uipath.com. So let's begin our work with the Google Dialogflow, which will be responsible for all the conversations from the chatbot side. So let's move to Google Dialogflow. Now to work on Google Dialogflow, first of all we'll have to log into this Dialogflow website by providing email ID and password as credentials. And once you log into this website, our first job is to create a Dialogflow agent. Now the Dialogflow agent will be the virtual agent that handles conversations with the end users. So let's create the Dialogflow agent from here. So click over here, and here we have an option to create new agent. So click on this option to create new agent. Let's provide a agent name over here. Let's keep the name as news chat agent, and we can change our language and time zone from here. Let's go with the default option and let's click on create. Now, once the agents are created, our next step is to create intent. So what is an intent? Let me show you. Now, every conversation between chatbot and end user are categorized as different intents. And the job of intent is to analyze the intention of the end user and accordingly provide proper response to the end user. So let's create intents now. So by default, we already have two intents, that is default fallback intent and default welcome intent. Let's open this default welcome intent and let's see what all we have here. So in the intent, first of all, we'll have to provide the training phrases for what a user might say, and accordingly we provide responses. So in this default welcome intent, the action and parameters are not required. We'll look into this one in our next intent. As of now, these all are the training phrases for the default welcome intent. These all are the phrases which a user might say to the chatbot, and in the response these all are the default response. So we can go with the default response, or we can change the response from here as well. We can customize the response. So let me clear these default response and let me add a customized response over here. So I'm going to provide the response as, "Hi, this is news chatbot, how may I assist?" So when the end user will provide any of these phrases to the chatbot, then the chatbot is going to reply as, "Hi, this is news chatbot, how may I assist?" So our default welcome intent is ready. Let's click on save, and then we'll create a new intent. Now to create a new intent, we'll move to intent and let's click on create intent from here. Let's give the name of the intent as get user question. And again, for this intent as well, we'll provide some training phrases for what a user might say. So let's click on add training phrases and let's begin to add the training phrases. Now, since this is a news chatbot, the user might ask to provide some news. So let's add the training phrase as provide some news. The user can also say that get me some news. Let's add some more training phrase as show me news. The user might also say only the news keyword. I want some news. So these all are the training phrases which we have added, which a user might say. Now moving ahead. So actions and parameters are not required in this intent as well. We will look into the actions and parameter in the next intent. So moving to the response section. So when the user provides some input which matches these training phrases, the chatbot needs to send a response to the user. So we will provide a response over here which is required to be sent from chatbot to the user. So let's provide a response over here. So I'm going to provide the response as please provide some topic for news. So when the user will provide the input which will match these training phrases, the chatbot is going to provide this response to the end user. So our job for this intent is done. We provided these training phrases and the response. Next, we will create one more intent to get the news topic from the user. Now to move from one intent to another intent, we require context. So let me show you. If you expand this one, so here I'm going to create an output context, and in the output context I'm going to provide the context as fetch topic. Now to move from this intent to another intent, I'm going to provide this similar context in the next intent as well as the input context. So let me show you what I mean. Let me save this intent. Our job for this intent is done. And let's create new intent from here. And create new intent from here. Let's give the intent name as get topic. And here in this context, I'm going to add the input context as fetch topic, which we have used as the output context in our previous intent. Now this context will help the movement from get user input intent to get topic intent. Now the similar activity will have to provide here also the training phrases. So let's begin to add the training phrases. Let's say the training phrase as the topic is Bitcoin. The user wants the news on the topic of Bitcoin. So I'm going to consider this Bitcoin topic as intent parameter, and each intent parameter has a type called entity. And for this we'll select the entity. So select this Bitcoin and we'll get a list of entities. So let's select this sys.unit information name and let's click on add. Let's add some more training phrases. Let's add the training phrase as show me some news on iPhone. The user might ask for the news on iPhone. So select this one and provide the entity for this as well. Let's add some more training phrases. Get results on phone. And let's select this one as well as intent parameter. Let's select the entity. Let's click on add. And this has been added in the training phrases. Let's add some more training phrases. Let's add the training phrase as show me some news on Bitcoin. And let's select this one as well as intent parameter and let's select the entity. So accordingly, we can add as many training phrases over here according to the requirement. Now next moving to the actions and parameter. So here the parameter name is selected as unit information name. Let's delete this one and let's provide the parameter name as news topic. So this is the parameter name we added, and accordingly the parameter name changed over here as well. Now to make this as a mandatory field, we can check this required checkbox. Also, if the user doesn't provide the parameter, we can provide a prompt to the user as well. So click on the prompt and let's say enter a prompt as please provide a topic for news. So if the user doesn't provide the topic, then the chatbot is going to display the prompt as please provide a topic for news. So let's click on close. Now moving to the response section. Now once user provides the topic according to these training phrases, the chatbot is going to provide a response to the user as here are top 5 news on, and I'm going to use the parameter name news topic which we created over here, news topic, and then the news will be displayed which we will get from the UiPath. So the parameter I'm going to write as news inside these angle brackets. Now this parameter, this news will get from the UiPath. So our job for this intent is also done. Let's click on save. Now one last thing which we need to do is to provide the context for the other intents. Let's click on OK. And in the default welcome intent, here we have not provided any context. So click over here and in the output context, let's provide the output context as fetch user input. Now from this intent, the flow might go to any of the other two intents which we created. So I'm going to use this context. Let's save this one and let's move to intent. And I'm going to use the context in these two intents. So let's open this get user question. And here let's provide the context which we just created. Let's provide fetch user input. Let's cross this output context and let's click on save. In a similar way, we'll move to the intents and we'll do the same for get topic as well. So here also I'm going to provide fetch user input. Let's cross this output context and let's click on save. So our work under Google Dialogflow is done. We created this news chat agent, and under this new chat agent we created different intents according to the requirement. So we can try the results here what we did in the Dialogflow. So let's say hi to the chatbot. And in response, the chatbot says, hi, this is news chatbot. How may I assist? So let's say that I provided the message as get me some news. And here in the response, the chatbot says, please provide some topic for news. Let's provide the topic as show results on Bitcoin. Let's hit enter, and in the response it says here are top 5 news on Bitcoin and this news parameter which we will get from the UiPath. So our job under Google Dialogflow is done. We created this news chat agent, and under this news chat agent we created different intents for conversation with end user. Next, let's create a UiPath workflow to get top 5 news headlines on a particular topic. Now to fetch the news headlines, I will use APIs from this website. This website provides multiple APIs to fetch the news. For example, it provides the API to fetch the news on a particular article. Next, it provides the API to fetch top business headlines. So we will use this API to fetch the top 5 headlines on a particular topic. All you need to work on the API is to get the API key which you will get from here. So click on get API key and provide all your details over here to get the API key. So once you get the API key, you will use that API key in this API over here as the API key, and then you are good to use this API to fetch the news on a particular topic. Here, for example, it has used the topic as Bitcoin and provided this response as the news response. So from this response, what we are going to do, we are going to fetch the top 5 titles. So this one will be the first title, this one will be the second title, and so on. So we are going to fetch the top 5 titles from this response of the API. So let's see how we can create this workflow in UiPath. So for that, let's move to UiPath and let's create a new project. So for that, let's select a process and let's give the name of the process as fetch news, and let's click on create. And here we are in the UiPath design page. Let's move to project and double click on main, and we are good to drop activities over here. So let's select the workflow type as sequence. And under this sequence, first of all, I'm going to use the activity as get password, which will be used to encrypt your API key. So let's drag and drop it over here. And here I'm going to provide my API key. So let's provide the API key, and you see the API key is masked, and let's assign the result to a variable. So right click over here and create a variable. Let's give the variable name as API key. So all done for this activity. Next, I'm going to use the HTTP request. Now, if the HTTP request activity is not present under your activity list, you'll have to install that one. So for that, you'll have to install a package. So move to manage packages and move to all packages, and here search for the package UiPath.web.activities. So this is the package which you need to install. So select this one and install and save this one. So the package has been installed. Now if I search for the HTTP request, so here is the HTTP request activity present, which we will use to hit the news API and get response. So let's drag and drop it over here, and here we'll have to provide some details to work on the HTTP request. So first of all, we'll have to provide the endpoint. So let's select the endpoint from here. This will be our endpoint. Let's paste it over here. Next, the request method will be get, and we can preview the response from here. So to do so, click on preview, and here is the preview response. That looks good. Let's click on OK, and this HTTP request activity get added. Next, from this endpoint of the activity, we'll have to modify some of the hard-coded values. Here, if you notice, we have the API key as an hard-coded value. So instead of this hard-coded value, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to remove this hard-coded value, put a plus, and provide the API key variable which we created from this get password activity. So we provided this one. Next, you see this Bitcoin is a hard-coded topic name present, but we'll have to fetch the news dynamically for any topic which user provides inside the parameter in the Google Dialogflow which we created inside get topic. Inside get topic, the parameter name we used is the news topic. So we'll have to use this news topic in the UiPath workflow. So make sure that you use this similar parameter name which is present over here as news topic. So let's move to UiPath. Let's click on OK as of now, and here under the argument, I'm going to create the argument as news topic, having the direction as in, since the value of news topic will come from this parameter from this Google Dialogflow. So that is done, and now we can modify the endpoint with this argument, that is news topic. So move to the endpoint again. So let's open this endpoint, and from here I'm going to remove this Bitcoin, provide double quotes, put a plus sign and provide the argument which we just created, that is news topic, and put a plus sign again. So our endpoint is ready, which is going to take any dynamic news topic and provide the response for that. So let's click on OK, and the response of this HTTP request will be stored inside a variable. So from here in the output section, in the result, I'm going to provide the variable to capture the response. So right click over here, click on create variable, and let's give the response as API response. Now this API response is created as a string variable. This API response is created as a string variable. Now from this response, this entire response, we want to fetch different titles. We want to fetch top 5 titles. Now to parse the titles from the string response, first of all we'll have to use the activity deserialize JSON, which deserializes JSON string to JSON object. So let's add this activity over here, and under this activity I'm going to provide the JSON string as the API response which we just created, and in the output I'm going to create the output as, right click over here, create variable, and let's give the variable name as JSON val. So using this JSON val variable, we will parse the top 5 news titles and store it inside an output argument. So move to arguments and create an argument over here. Let's provide the argument name as news, which will have the direction as out, and argument type will be string. Now make sure that the name of the argument which you provide over here, that is news, should match the value which you have provided inside the angle brackets inside the intent of get topic, because the value of news argument which you provide over here will be reflected inside the response from the chatbot. So two things to notice over here, this news topic and the news parameters from here must match the arguments which you create inside the UiPath. So let's begin to parse the news titles. So for that I'm going to use the assign activity, and in 2 I'm going to provide the argument as news, and here we'll have to parse the news titles, top 5 news titles. So let's expand the value, and here let's begin to parse. So first of all we'll have to start parsing from the JSON val variable, and before that I'm going to use environment dot new line to move to the new line, then put a plus, and let's provide the JSON val variable, and since this title is present inside this articles array, this all the titles and all other fields are present inside the articles array, so I'm going to provide the value as articles inside the brackets, and under this article array, to fetch the first title, to fetch this first title I'm going to use articles dot item 0, which is going to fetch the first title, and to fetch the first title we'll have to provide the name as title. All done. At the end we'll have to convert it into string, so let's add two string over here. In a similar way, to fetch the next title, I will provide a plus sign and provide the same expression with the item as 1. And to fetch the next title, do the same activity again, item as 2, put a plus at the end of the expression. Then do the same to fetch the next item. So I'm going to provide the item as 3, put a plus, and at the end provide the item as 4. So this expression is going to fetch top 5 news titles from the API response. So let's click on OK. And our project is ready, but for the debug purpose we can add a message box to check whether our project is working fine or not. So let's drag and drop this message box over here, and let's provide the expression which we just added. This is the expression I have provided, the same expression I provided inside the message box. And in the final execution, the news topic will come from the chatbot. But as of now, for the debug purpose, let's provide the news topic as Bitcoin. And let's run this project to see how it works. Let's save this one and let's quickly run it. And my project is running now, and here you see it displayed the top 5 news titles from the API which we provided. So let's click on OK. And now I'm going to delete this message box. It is not required. We can remove the default value of the news topic as well. It's going to take the news topic from the chatbot. Let's click on save. Next, we'll have to publish this project to the orchestrator, which we have already learned in detail in the orchestrator session. Now to publish this project, click on publish, and from here these all are the version details. This is the package name. Let's click on publish, and the project has been published. The name is fetch news and the version is 1.0.1. So let's move to orchestrator. And let's move to Orchestrator. So here we are in the Orchestrator. Let's move to packages to validate whether the project has been published or not. So we are in the package, and here you see this fetch news package has been published to the orchestrator. So we'll have to create a process with this package. So for that, to create a process, we will move to the process and we will create a new process from here. So let's click on add, and let's provide the package name. So our package name is fetch news, which we have just published, and the package version it has selected is 1.0.1. That is correct. And we'll have to select the environment as well. So we have already created these environments in the orchestrator session. In case you are not aware of this, please check out the video on orchestrator for a quick reference. So I'm going to select the environment as test project prod 1, and job priority we will set as normal, and let's click on create. So here our process is also ready, and in this way we completed our work in UiPath as well. We created a workflow to fetch the top 5 news headlines, and we published our project inside the orchestrator. So our task under Google Dialogflow and UiPath is done. Next, we will move to chatbot.uipath.com to map our work from Google Dialogflow and UiPath. So let's move to chatbot.uipath.com. So let's launch this chatbot.uipath.com. And from here I'm going to create a new connection. So for that, click on this plus sign and let's give a connection name. Let's give that connection name as news chatbot connection, and let's click on save. And here we'll have to connect the Dialogflow agent and the orchestrator service which we created. So let's begin by connecting the Dialogflow agent. So for that, let's click on connect, and here we'll have to provide few details to the Dialogflow agent. And in the right hand side you see it has been explained in very detail how we can get all these values from the Dialogflow agent. So let's move to our Dialogflow agent. This is the news chat agent, which is the Dialogflow agent which we created. So click on this settings icon. Let's click on OK. And here you see we have this project ID present. So let's copy this one from here, and I'm going to provide it inside project ID. Next, we'll have to provide the service account. So let's copy this service account from here, and let's provide the service account here. Next, we'll have to provide the private key, and to get the private key, let's open this service account URL. So this is the Google Cloud Platform, and first of all we'll move to this IAM tab. So let's move to this IAM tab, and from here let's click on this edit option, and from the role drop down let's select this role drop down, and from here we will select this Dialogflow and Dialogflow API admin, and let's click on save. So it has been done. We'll move to the service account, and here you see our agent, the news chat agent which we created, it is present. We'll select this three dots from here, and from here let's select this create key, and here it is asking for the key type, so let's go with the JSON option and let's click on create. Let's click on close, and here you see one JSON file got downloaded. So let's open this JSON file. So this is our JSON file with this response. You can move to the JSON beautifier to see that value in a formatted one, in a good format. So let's move to JSON beautifier. Let's open the first link, and from here I'm going to provide the entire value and click on beautify. So here you see this is the response in a good format. From this response we'll have to select this private key. So let's copy the private key beginning from here till it ends over here. So let's copy this entire private key, and I'm going to put it over here. So all the details we have provided to connect to the Dialogflow agent. Now to hit enter, since this enter button is not visible, I'm going to hit 2 times tab from my keyboard and hit enter. So it is testing the connection, and the connection has been successful. That means the Dialogflow agent, here you see the news chat agent, which is our Dialogflow agent which we created, is present. It got fetched from the chatbot. So let's close this one. We are done with the Dialogflow connection. Let's connect the Orchestrator service now. So click on connect, and here also we'll have to provide few details. So for that we'll move to the Orchestrator, and here we are in the cloud.uipath.com page, and to get all these values, what will we do, we'll move to the admin tab, and from here, from the tenant tab, if you expand this one, here is the API access option. So if you open this one, you see we have all the details present. So let's copy them one by one. First let's copy the user key, and let's provide it inside the user key tab. Deployment type we will select as the UiPath Cloud. Here we have two options, UiPath Cloud and on-premises. Since my orchestrator is on UiPath Cloud platform, so I have selected this UiPath Cloud option. So we have provided the user key. Next, let's provide the account logical name. So we have the account logical name here. Copy this one and provide the value here. Then provide the tenant logical name, and let's provide over here. Next, we'll have to provide the client ID. So this is the client ID, and let's provide it over here. Next, we'll have to select the folder from the orchestrator. So the folder is default in my orchestrator. Let me show you. If I move to home and if I open the orchestrator from here, so from here if I move to folders, and here you see we are working on the default folder, so I'm going to choose this default folder from here. So we provided all the details in this connection as well. So click on connect, and the connection is successful. I'm going to close this one. Here you see both the connections has been done. Next we'll move to map. So from here we'll have to choose the intent from where we want the mapping to begin. Since this one is the last intent, in this intent user provides the topic on which the user wants the news. So in this intent, we have the topic name. So I'm going to map this topic to the orchestrator service, orchestrator process. So click on this plus icon, and from here we have all the process present. So I'm going to select this process which we created few minutes back, that is fetch news. So let's select this one. And here you see it provides the argument name for this process. The input argument is news topic and the output argument is news. So let's click on map. So all done under this map tab. Let's move to the launch one. Now here we have two options present. To launch our chatbot, we'll go with this web option. So let's click on connect. And here we'll have to provide some virtual agent name. Let's provide the virtual name as QAL, and here we can provide a greeting message as well. So let's provide a greeting message as hello there, and we can copy this HTML embedded code for our further use, and let's click on save and close. So the connection from this web channel has been done. We can test our connection. So if you open this test one, so this URL launches our chatbot. If you open this option, here the chatbot gets launched. Now we are good to work on the chatbot. Let's say hi to the chatbot. Let's say hi. And the chatbot replies as hi, this is news chatbot, how may I assist? Now if you remember, this is the exact response we provided in our first intent, that is the welcome intent. So if you move to intents, and in the default welcome intent response we have provided the exact response. That's why we get this exact response over here. Next, since this is a news chatbot, let's say show me some news. So it is saying please provide some topic for news. So let's say get me news on iPhone, and it says working on it. Now this is the time the UiPath workflow gets triggered in the orchestrator, and it has provided the response as here are top 5 news on iPhone, and we got top 5 news titles. So in this way this chatbot works, and in this way we created the chatbot using the Google Dialogflow and the UiPath workflow, and later on we integrated the work on those two applications using the chatbot.uipath.com. So please try to do hands-on on the chatbot creation and let me know in case you face any issues. And that's all for this session, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and share with your friends, and hit the bell button to get the updates on the latest videos. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel as well. Thank you, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.